Hey guys, welcome to this video. As you can see here, I've got a thick reading section. This is from College Board's first practice test, and I'm gonna be going through this passage by passage. We're gonna be doing the literature passage in this video. Let me know if you like this sort of content. I think it'll be really helpful if you watch this whole video. So let's get into it. So the first thing I like to do is to get a sense of all the questions that are gonna be in this passage. Now, I talked a lot more about my overall method for approaching the reading section in my other video, so go check that out if you haven't yet. And you can approach this in other ways, like reading the passage first if that's what's most helpful for you. I'm just going to go ahead and look at all these questions and underline what I need to in the passage based on those questions. So I'll see you in a second. Alright, so I've looked through all the questions. I did notice like a main purpose question right here that I'm going to be looking out for when I read the first paragraph. And I got prepared for these daily double questions that are coming up. A quick tip for this is when you're trying to highlight these little lines, first of all, use circles because it goes faster than trying to underline everything and you can see it easier. Second, pay attention to just the first number of the line and the first word, like 72 I see, to try to find it as fast as possible. Otherwise, it can go pretty slowly because it's a lot of stuff to try to remember when you're circling. Okay, moving on. Now I'm going to read the passage and keep in mind kind of what I've already looked out for. So kind of coming up with my own definitions for these two words. And we don't really have to worry about these yet. So I'm going to read it out loud. And if you want to skip this part, if you've already read it, skip to here. But I think this is going to be good if you have trouble staying focused on the paragraph, to kind of see a demonstration of how I would read it in my head to keep myself focused and entertained, because these passages are a little more fun than the other ones. So let's get started. Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form? Had he asked his mother to speak to his father to approach a go-between? Would she have been more receptive? He came on a winter's eve. He pounded on the door while a cold rain beat on the shuttered veranda, so at first she thought him only the wind. The maid knew better. She heard her soft scuttling footsteps, the creak of the door. Then the maid brought a calling card to the drawing room for Chi. Chi was reluctant to go to her guest. Perhaps she was feeling too cozy. She and Naomi were reading at a low table set atop a charcoal brazier. A thick quilt spread over the sides of the table so their legs were tucked inside with the heat. Who is it at this hour, in this weather? Chi questioned as she picked the name card off the maid's lacquer tray. Shinoda Akira, Kobe Dental College, she read. Naomi recognized the name. Chi heard a soft intake of air. I think you should go, said Naomi. Akira was waiting in the entry. He was in his early 20s, slim and serious, wearing the black military-style uniform of a student. As he bowed, his hands hanging straight down, a black cap in one, a yellow oil paper umbrella in the other, Chi glanced beyond him. In the glistening surface of the courtyard's rain-drenched paving stones, she saw his reflection like a dark double. Madam, said Akira, forgive my disruption, but I come with a matter of urgency. His voice was soft, refined. He straightened and stole a deferential peek at her face. In the dim light, his eyes shone with sincerity. Chi felt herself starting to like him. Come inside, get out of this nasty night. Surely your business can wait for a moment or two. I don't want to trouble you. Normally I would approach you more properly, but I've received word of a position. I have an opportunity to go to America as a dentist for Seattle's Japanese community. Congratulations, Chi said with amusement. That is an opportunity, I'm sure. But how am I involved? Even noting Naomi's breathless reaction to the name card, Chi had no idea. Akira's message, delivered like a formal speech, filled her with maternal amusement. You know how children speak so earnestly, so hurriedly, so endearingly about the things that have no importance in the adult's mind? That's how she viewed him, a child. It was how she viewed Naomi. Even though Naomi was 18 and training endlessly in the arts needed to make a good marriage, Chi had made no effort to find her a husband. Akira blushed. Depending on your response, I may stay in Japan. I've come to ask for Naomi's hand. Suddenly, Chi felt the dampness of the night. Does Naomi know anything of your ambitions? We have an understanding. Please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of this proposal. I ask directly because the use of a go-between takes much more time. Either method comes down to the same thing, a matter of parental approval. If you give your consent, I become Naomi's Yoshi, which means a man who marries a woman of a higher status and takes her family name. We'll live in the house of Fuji. Without your consent, I must go to America to secure a new home for my bride. Eager to make his point, he'd been looking her full in the face. Abruptly, his voice turned gentle. I see I've startled you. My humble apologies. I'll take no more of your evening. My address is on my card. If you don't wish to contact me, I'll reapproach you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, good night. He bowed and left, taking her ease with effortless grace, like a cat making off with a fish. Mother? She heard Naomi's low voice and turned from the door. Has he asked you? The sight of Naomi's clear eyes, her dark brows, gave Chi strength. Maybe his hopes were preposterous. Where did you meet such a fellow? Imagine, he thinks he can marry the Fuji heir and take her to America all in the snap of his fingers. Chi waited for Naomi's ripe laughter. Naomi was silent. She stood a full half-minute looking straight into Chi's eyes. Finally, she spoke. I met him at my literary meeting. Naomi turned to go back into the house, then stopped. Mother? Yes? I mean to have him. What drama, what tea. I absolutely love that. I don't know how you can read that and be, bored or disengaged. That is art. So 2 things I noticed as I was reading this. First of all, it's just really well done, the drama with this line, I love it. Secondly, there's a lot of just really beautiful similes and metaphors, just descriptive language. There's a lot going on here. So I'm sure there's going to be some stuff about that within our questions. All right, so let's get into our questions. Let's look at the first one. So this says, which choice best describes what happens in the passage? This is another summary type question. I didn't make note of it, but it's here. We can either choose one character argues with another character who intrudes on her home, one character receives a surprising request from another character, one character reminisces about choices she's made over the years, or one character criticizes another character for pursuing an unexpected course of action. Now, this is kind of vague because it just says one character and another, so that's not very helpful because we don't know who it's talking about. We gotta make some guesses here. So first of all, let's look at A. Akira's not really intruding on her home, I don't think. He's being really respectful. He's not arguing either, so that one's definitely not it. Now let's look at C, just so we can cross this one off too. Someone reminisces about the choices she's made, so that could either be referring to Chi or Naomi, and I don't think either of them do that, so there's no evidence in the passage for that. So now we have 2 left. And between these 2, both of them kind of make sense, so it's important to apply a little bit of strategy here. D says one character criticizes another character. And definitely what he says is unexpected. I mean, to her at least. She definitely didn't know he was gonna try to marry her daughter. But she doesn't really criticize him for it ever. In the text, she's kind of waiting for Naomi to reject him, thinking it's kind of amusing, and it maybe surprised her a little bit, but I don't think she really had any criticism for him directly. So I think we can cross off D, and with that, B is definitely true. She definitely receives a surprising request from Akira. And I think since this one's more vague, it can also help us because we know that this one is true. This one has some words that maybe cast some doubt in our mind a little bit. So let's go with B for this one. All right, next question. Which choice best describes the developmental pattern of the passage? It's good to look at these adjectives and these nouns also. So that's gonna really help us. So A is a careful analysis of a traditional passage. It was maybe careful in its detailed language, but it was definitely not an analysis. That was a narrative story type thing. So not that one. Oops. B is a detailed depiction of a meaningful encounter. It was definitely a meaningful encounter. There was a lot of detailed language, and yeah, depiction kind of works. So I'm thinking B, but let's read the other ones. A definitive response to a series of questions. There were some questions at the beginning, but it was not a response to those questions. The questions at the beginning were more rhetorical questions about what happened in this story, kind of a reflection of it. So I don't think that's a good answer. This one's definitely better. And it's definitely not cheerful. There were like a lot of serious descriptions and stuff. It was like very beautiful, but not cheerful. It was not an amusing, she found it a little amusing, but it was not like an amusing little story. That was not the tone of the passage at all. It was more like a very serious request that was being taken lightly. So I think we can go with B on this one too. Alrighty, question 3. Here's where we use our vocab that was already underlined. We have directly, most nearly means in lines 1 and 65. So we get 2 places to look at it. So Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. And the other one is, I asked directly because the use of a go-between takes much more time. So our options for this are frankly, confidently, without mediation, and with precision. So he's using directly to mean like he asked himself instead of using somebody else to ask for him. Now, the word frankly could work, but there is a better option. Confidently, also, he did ask confidently, but the word in that sense means he asked without someone else's help. So that would mean mediation, because like a mediator is a go-between, which is exactly what it said in that one sentence. So, and with precision, again, that one is probably the worst of all of them. I don't know. It doesn't really work. So definitely C here. I actually got this one wrong on the first test because I misread the word mediation as meditation, which, again, it's really important that you're careful when you read this. And if one of the word, like frankly, kind of works if you're not paying close enough attention, if you're questioning one of your choices, make sure to read through all the choices again to make sure you didn't miss anything, because it's really easy to do. So, next we actually have our daily double. It's important to look on the next page whenever you have a question that might involve quotes, because it might make it a lot easier. We already have our quotes circled from this part, so we're going to use my little trick that I talk about in the other video. If you don't know what I'm doing, go back and watch that. But first we're going to look at question 4. And we're just looking, which reaction does Akira fear most from Chi? And now we look at our circled responses, which we already did. These are the ones without stars. We're looking for quotes that will directly answer that question. What does Akira fear? So we're looking for his thoughts or some dialogue that he says that mentions like what he's worried about. His voice was soft, refined. That does not answer the question at all. That one's already off the table. Next one, we have, you know how children speak so earnestly, so hurriedly, so endearingly about things that have no importance in an adult's mind? That's Chi's thoughts about what he's saying. So that's not Akira's thoughts. That's what Chi is thinking. Then next we have, please don't judge my candidacy by the unseemliness of this proposal. That is Akira saying that, remember. So that's probably a good option because that's him not wanting her to judge, like him being a candidate for her daughter's marriage by how he's asking. All right, and the last one is eager to make his point. He'd been looking her full in the face. That doesn't say anything either. So we definitely know that the answer to number 5 is this one. So we can go ahead and circle that right now. But now the fun part comes when we try to match up number 4 with number 5. So now we know that this is the quote that we are looking at right now. Like, we have to get one of these things to match with this. What is Akira afraid of? He is kind of worried about how he's proposing. She will consider his proposal inappropriate. That might be good because it's definitely not the conventional way that he should have done it, like judging by tradition. So she might not accept because of that. That's kind of a good choice so far. She will mistake his earnestness for immaturity. This is more how she's judging him. I don't know if he thought he was going to get that reaction. She's kind of thinking of him as a child, but he doesn't directly fear that, so that one's out. She will consider his unscheduled visit an imposition. I don't think he's really worried about the impromptu nature of it. He's more worried about not having, like, the intermediate to talk for him. So I think that one's out. And then she will underestimate the sincerity of his emotions. Again, this kind of goes along with this one. He's not directly worried about that. He's obviously very sincere, but she might not get that vibe from him, but he doesn't fear that. So that one's out. So good. We got A from that. Notice that this one would have been a lot harder if we didn't have this quote to help us. So it's very good to do the daily doubles in that order. In the passage, Akira addresses Chi with affection but not genuine love, objectivity but not complete impartiality, amusement but not mocking disparagement, and respect but not utter deference. So it's important to remember who's who here, because the names do get maybe a little confusing. Akira is the one who is proposing. Chi is the mother of the daughter he's proposing to. You might pick C if you think it's the other way around, because Chi is definitely a little amused by him, but Akira is definitely not amused by her. Affection but not genuine love. I don't think we can really judge if anyone genuinely loves anyone by what we just read. Again, he doesn't really show any affection. He's more shows respect than affection to her because of like his culture. Then we're kind of in between B and D at this point. So objectivity but not complete impartiality. This one is kind of a little weird to me because objectivity kind of means the same thing as impartiality. So it's like saying objectivity but not complete objectivity. And plus, I don't really get why he would be biased towards her. So that one doesn't make complete sense either. So if we go with the one that's left, he definitely shows a lot of respect. Like he bows at the beginning. He's like really like, oh, please don't judge me. He's being very respectful of her, but not utter deference. Like he's still asking for her daughter's hand in marriage. So yeah, okay, that works. Okay, the main purpose of the first paragraph is to describe a culture, criticize a tradition, question a suggestion, or analyze a reaction. Now, I kind of already pointed this one out before we read, kind of keeping it in mind. So describing a culture and criticizing a tradition. This definitely does involve a lot of Japanese culture, but the first paragraph, if you guys remember, is this. So Akira came directly, breaking all tradition. Was that it? Had he followed form, asked his mother to speak to his father, to approach a go-between, would she have been more receptive? That's our first paragraph. So yeah, it describes tradition, but it doesn't really criticize it, and I don't know if that's our best answer, either of those two. The main purpose is to kind of describe what happened in the overall paragraph. So describing a culture is out and criticizing a tradition is out. It's definitely not critical. It's more just wondering, like, what if situation. Now, question a suggestion. You could be really tempted to pick this one because of the word question, because there are two or three questions within that paragraph, but you have to keep in mind suggestion. Like, what suggestion is it questioning? The fact that he could have had a go-between, or the fact that he did it the way he did? Because nobody told him to do it the way he did it. He just kind of had to do that based on the circumstance. So there's really no suggestion to be questioned here. That's why this one is wrong. So we're left with analyze a reaction. So Chi definitely reacted maybe a little harsher than he was expecting, or with more amusement. That was her reaction. And the first paragraph is kind of asking, why did she react the way that she did? And like, what would have happened if he used another method? So I think this is our safest bet. Again, I'm pretty sure I got this one wrong because I didn't read the word suggestion or fully comprehend it the first time I was taking this. So yeah, be careful about that. All right, another vocab one. As used in the line 2, form most nearly means, had he followed form, would she have been more receptive? So this paragraph is talking about tradition, remember? So, had he followed appearance? No. Had he followed structure? I could see how that might be one. Or had he followed nature? That's no. Following nature. Maybe he like shows up in all camouflage or something. I don't know. But so in between custom and structure, custom is going to be like tradition. So had he followed custom or tradition, like what's normally acceptable in that situation? Or structure is kind of more vague, like had he followed structure, it feels more analytical, or like not quite right. It's definitely talking about tradition in that paragraph. Okay. We have another daily double. So remember how these work. Why does Akira say his meeting with Chi is a matter of urgency? Line 32. Now we go to all of these, which we already circled. These ones have the stars on them. Why did Akira do what he did? I don't want to trouble you. That doesn't really answer the question at all. That's just showing he's maybe a little apologetic. Normally I would approach you more properly, but I've received word of a position. I have an opportunity to go to America as a dentist for Seattle's Japanese community. That sounds about right, because normally he would have been a little more formal with things, but he had this job opportunity and he has to do it quickly. Let's look at the other options though. Depending on your response, I may stay in Japan. That one could work actually. Let's leave it for now and then kind of compare it with the other one. This one, I see I've startled you. That doesn't work at all because like he's noticed something. I don't know. So let's go back to this one. If we still can't make a definite choice about this, we can look back at the first question of the daily double and see what makes sense and which one would work better in context. Let's look at the answer choices now. We can cross off these two. He fears that his own parents will disapprove of Naomi. No. He worries Naomi will reject him and marry someone else. No. And he's been offered an attractive job in another country. It's this one. And he knows that she is unaware of his feelings for Naomi. And if you don't know how I did that, I just looked at our two options that were definitely related to him wanting to move out of the country and having that job offer. And both of the options that were left from this one, B and C, were why he considered it a matter of urgency. So it's either he's going to stay in Japan or leave because of that, or he's going to go because of the job. So you can probably tell already which one out of B and C works better with this. It is B, because this one talks about the job specifically, and then we need them to connect to each other. So if we went this one, it wasn't clear that he was staying in Japan because of the job or because of like wanting to get married to her instead of going to the job or whatever he would do in that case. So this one definitely very thoroughly explains from start to finish why his meeting was so urgent and why he couldn't have done it another way. So with that, that is the end of the literature section. So yeah, I already looked through all these. I wanted to make sure I wasn't giving you like wrong answers. So all these are the correct answers and explanations on how to get there. And we will go through this passage next time. But in the meantime, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Share it with your friends if they are also taking the SAT in the future. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of more chill video. And let me know if this was helpful. Also, comment down below if you have any questions about how I arrived at the answers. But yeah, I tried to go through a little more in-depth than College Board's answers do, because sometimes those are a little wacky, don't make a ton of sense, or they kind of don't explain away every single answer choice super well. So I tried to do that in this video. Let me know how it went. Alright, see you guys. Bye!